and text is increasing. And if you look at the preliminary data from the centers that have entered for this year, it's even more stark. The increase in texting and the decline of voice appears to be sort of on the same trajectory as it's been on. It seemed like a really urgent thing to me. You all asked for it. It was loud, it was clear, and the data showed that it was probably pretty urgent. So looked around the field and found out that Larry and Tom Evans had collaborated on this at the heart of Florida and in about 30% of the rest of the country already, with a platform that seems to be able to do everything that you all needed to do at a price that, you know, we checked out and was pretty reasonable. It'd be hard to beat the pricing that EMS has, through Heart of Florida, put out for the network. We did negotiate a little bit to try to bring it down a little bit, and I think we were somewhat successful. But the big deal is that this is a platform that already has been proven over the past few years across the network. It's a good price. It is a product that I've not heard any significant complaints about, and it's available now. And what you'll hear, if you haven't read any of the stuff about this, is that there's sort of two versions. There's the free version, which means that there are some services that Larry and Tom are making available to the entire 211 network free of charge, and that is a big plus for the network. That allows us to promote 898-211 nationwide. And then there are, of course, a charge for the services that can make your 898-211 really effective within your 211 center. And to talk about why text is important, what they've done with text, I think I should probably now turn it over to the guy that's been doing this for a while, collaborator in this whole thing, Larry Olness from the Heart of Florida United Way. Larry?
Thank you, Russ. I appreciate all of you taking time out of your busy day to participate, and I do apologize. I know many of you tried to get on the first webinar. We were overwhelmed with a number of folks that actually wanted to sign on at the last moment. So thank you for your patience, and I hope that you'll find your time spent today as both educational and rewarding. What I wanted to do, and the format was kind of give you a little bit of background on text, on how it got to this point, some of the features that are available, including the ones that Russ alluded to that were at no cost to help the system grow. Kind of talk about some of the exciting things that are being done with text. And then at the very end, two steps. One, I wanted to give you a 30-second demo of one of the free features that we are making available to be able to help you in your community, and then answer as many questions as you have. I want to make sure everybody goes away feeling comfortable about where we're at, where we're going, and the tremendous opportunity that is available to all of us in the field. So if you would please go to the next slide. Just very quickly, as Russ alluded to, text is slowly, and slowly is a relative term, is quickly replacing telephone communication in terms of voice communication in terms of preferred method of communication. So if you note the various bullet points, 80% of Americans use text. Voice is actually dropped number 6 on mobile devices. If you are 55 and below, your preferred method of communication is text, and in fact that is a number that is going up each year. The nice thing about text, it's got a very high open rate, and it's also got a very high retention rate. So once you sign in, or once you begin using text, you continue to stay attached to that platform. So it gives you a relationship as opposed to an interaction. And as you know, the average adult spends 23 hours a week on the texting. So, there is a whole lot of folks doing a whole lot of texting. And if you are not currently using text, you are missing the opportunity to communicate with folks that are. I will tell you, and I'll probably address this again, that the folks that text us, when given the opportunity to transition to a voice interaction choose not to, and about 98% of the folks that contact us have never done so in the past because the text option was not available. We've been using text now for 6 years and have had tremendous success in both the push and the two-way communication, which I will go into a little bit later in the presentation. Next slide, please. So just to tell you how we got to where we're at, the United Way executives put together a group. It was a 211 CEO work group, and there were subcommittees of that, and I was responsible for the quality and assurance work group. And we were charged with establishing some metrics, defining system requirements, and helping to identify tools to help 211s across the country. This is a result of the field, United Way field, saying, how do I tell if my 211 is a good 211 or not? How do I know if I'm spending my money appropriately? I don't know what the base is based on no benchmarks. So we worked with 211s across the country to put together metrics and system requirements and so forth. And one of the outgrowths that was a scorecard, which we made available. And several 211s right now are using that scorecard on a quarterly basis, giving the information back to us so we can help develop not only a benchmark for the system, but also looking at where there are needs and helping to develop with AIR's participation, trainings and other things to help folks all be at a level that we are all proud to be part of. And part of that also was the recognition that we need to have text. And to that end, it was brought to us as a charge to develop a national text platform, with some of the caveats being that it provided a cost-effective service so that everybody could be in the platform, and secondarily, that be integrated. So we could be able to report up numbers combined, that we could all take advantage of the opportunities that are presented by having an integrated system. I've been in 211 in the iCarol world for 20 years, and I have seen contracts and opportunities go by the wayside because we couldn't deliver a national integrated response. Millions and millions of dollars, unfortunately, dollars that could have helped us in our operations offset our costs, increase our efficiency, increase our technology. And this platform is built to be able to take advantage of that and to be able to bring dollars back down to your community, and that's what we're excited about, is the fact that today, as of right now, and as of 2 weeks ago, and as of a month ago, we could offer a national solution that would be appealing to national funders. Next slide, please. So we are in year 2 of the National Text Platform rollout. To date, we have, and this is as of 1/1, and I know there are several others that have signed on or in the process of signing on since the last webinar. So we're getting very close to half the country. But as of right now, 26 states are in the process. We have issued the national call to action, and what the actual call to action is asking you to send your zip codes to us. So when a person texts 898-211, if you are not currently providing text and not currently on the platform, that they get a response that you want them to receive. So right now, anyone in the country, if you text 898-211 and you're not on the platform, a generic message goes back to them saying that 211 text is not currently available in their community. What we'd rather have it say is 211 is not, our text is not currently available, but please connect with our website, or whatever message you want to have happen to help them folks get to you. Personalized as opposed to generic. Informational as opposed to simply a blank response. So that's one of the things. It's a call to action to have your zip codes be part of the national registry, so folks will be able to have a personalized message. And in fact, there are hundreds of texts daily that come into that 898-211 code that are not being answered by anybody. I mentioned the green is currently being deployed, but we want to personalize that. It's also important that we have integrated server workflow. So not only do we have a national text platform, but we have the opportunity for integration into the various CRMs we're using, the various databases. So we unveiled the national text platform concept to various providers. Refer is already fully integrated, but to VisionLink, to Bowman Systems, to iCarol, and they were all very excited about the concept. So we are in various stages of discussion with them about next steps. To that end, we have created an API that is available to them to integrate into their product, which will be able to then fully take advantage of all the technology and all the features that have been developed, which I'll talk a little bit about later, including the 2-in-1 on-demand program, which I think is very exciting. It allows us to be reactive to folks who want to use text and to provide a full service response without having to have a person involved in the interaction. And I'll talk about that a little bit more later on. We wanted to have a platform that could be adaptable to local and national issues. So, and we do that by using keywords. So, for example, if we wanted to do a national response to flu, they would type in 898-211 and put in the keyword flu. If we wanted to do a regional response, we can do that by having to do the same response of type in 898-211, put in flu, and then ask them for their zip code, so we can further define the geographic area and have it go appropriately. So there's all kinds of flexibility within this platform, and that's important because a local disaster like a tornado or flooding, but also national opportunities. We want to be able to provide funding opportunities across the system, because this is about getting dollars back into your hands and also better serving our clients and taking advantage of opportunities that exist. We also have worked to integrate this, to create a national dashboard framework so we can see how many folks are texting, what they're texting about, and really combine the information and bring it up to a dashboard we can see and share and use. And not only is it a useful tool for us and for the field, funders love that kind of thing, and so it's important to be able to do that. The system is designed for routing network coverage, and Indiana's done a great job of that, and I'll mention that later. But what it basically means is we can load balance the system, so we can ensure that metrics can be met. We can ensure that nobody's overwhelmed. We can ensure that if, for example, you need to go down, that the system doesn't go down in your area that is routed to somebody else. So we have maximum flexibility, maximum coverage, and we can tell a funder that yes, we can guarantee that this response will happen in this amount of time. We can guarantee the experience. So it's just creates opportunities we did not have in the past. And fortunately, this is built upon currently thousands of trained operators are already using the system and are in our centers. It's our 2-on-1 information referral specialists, that are trained, are experts, and what we're doing is taking that skill of those already on the platform and that skill of those that will get on the platform and creating something that we can all be proud of. Next slide, please. So just to give you a sense, I mentioned the states we're in. What's important about this map is not that we are in all the states, but we cover the 10 FEMA regions. And FEMA is a very viable potential partner to fund us to do work. So being in 10 regions gives us the opportunity to say, yes, we are in each region, and yes, we can deliver a regional response in each region. So that's enough that we work very hard to do as we're building the system, is guarantee the regional coverage. Next slide. So just a couple quick facts. Currently, we serve over 107 million people. About a third of the country are currently operational. That number will grow up exponentially in the next several weeks as more folks get on the system. And we are hoping that in the very near future, everybody is given their zip codes, and many, if not all of you, have decided to take full advantage of all the features that are embedded in the product. Next slide, please. So our goal is to use the National Text Platform to support national initiatives. We are currently working with Homeland Security in 3 locations on a pilot project that we hope by year 2 we'll be able to expand to other sites, other 2-on-1s that are on the platform as well. And we are looking to see who else we could talk to. You know, to some extent we are unfortunately behind the curve. There are other folks out there that are selling national text platforms, but what they don't have is our wealth of knowledge of community resources, our highly trained individuals, and our potential marketing strength of the 2-on-1 in general. So we're a bit behind, but we are poised to go forward very quickly, and we're very excited about that. Obviously, to provide universal 2-on-1 text service to all Americans, we can do that now, but I'd rather do it with not half the 2-on-1s, but all the 2-on-1s actively engaged in the process. And we are configuring a national network of sites that can respond to any need instantly. So even as we build this network, we are fully operational with this network. So if we have a national contract tomorrow, we can deliver nationally tomorrow. And that's important because this is the first time in 20 years that we can say that we have a national 2-on-1 branded project, text 2-on-1, that can deliver a national response to any need instantly. We should be very proud of that as a field. Next slide, please. Strategies, you know, I mentioned part of this before. Even if you are not in a position because of your funding cycle and so forth to join the text platform in its full capacity, we want you to be registered. We want you to customize your message because that's important. You know, nobody wants to text the number from somewhere in the nation and get a generic message. They want to get a useful, customized message that connects them with the service that you want them to hook up with, and then you want them to be able to know who you are. We are going to continue to look for opportunities to raise funds to be able to offset the costs that are associated with the system, but also, and I mentioned this a number of times, this is very important to me and to the work group, is get dollars back in your hands. You know, we want you to have dollars to be able to upgrade your technology, to offset your costs, to make you less dependent on a single funding stream. You know, we think the potential there with this product to do that, and we are excited about that opportunity. We continue to look at ways to advance the system and respond to ideas that can make it a more robust system. We are providing direct support to network sites, you know, and we are talking about, you know, a number of things, including national governance and all those kind of things, which is part of that direct support and so forth. But you know, this is a product for the field, from the field, and that's how we want this to continue to grow. And once again, the call to action: anytime, anywhere, text 2-on-1. We want that to be in people's minds. You know, that's who we are. We're 2-on-1, and you know, we want to be text 2-on-1. We want that to be forefront. Next slide. So, what's the process? Very simple. Just send me your zip codes and the message you want to appear in those zip codes. So, if you serve more than one community and you want to have a unique message for each community, that's fine. Just give me the zip codes for that. You know, if you have a system like Arkansas does, where they're active in part of the state, not all the state. So they create a message for the active part of the state and another message for the other part of the state. That's fine. Whatever you want to do to align with your zip codes, please let me know. And when I say whatever, obviously it's about messaging to get them to your website, get them to your location. So what else do you get for doing that? And Russ mentioned the three things. We are going to give you on-demand surge protection for emergency uses. So we're going to give you a text code, our text tool to use for emergencies. So if you have a flood, if you have a tornado, if you have whatever kind of disaster you have, we're going to give you a text, but we were going to guarantee that you're not going to get overwhelmed because we're going to create the network to be able to support you during that effort. So you will never have a situation where you put out text 211 and the code, and people say, "Oh, I couldn't get through. I couldn't get a response." We're going to put the surge protection in place. I mentioned the automated text response that supports your local 211. We're also going to, as part of that disaster piece, open up a donation port for you, text to give. Now, you probably have heard the text to give platforms before, where you can pledge $5 or $10. In this application, there's not a limit, so they can give financially any amount you choose. 5, 10, 100, 100,000. It's up to you how that goes. They can also donate not only financially, but if you want them to donate water or blankets, whatever, you can also have that donation set up. So we're going to give you that whole functionality and availability for you to use. And finally, I mentioned the integration with the CRMs, whatever product you're using. We're going to provide API support to your vendors to help them integrate this product, because we feel very strongly that it's not only about using the system, it's about collecting the data, to be able to roll the data up, to be able to talk as a system what's happening across the country. So on the last slide, there's some contact information. Please download that or write that down so we can get that information from you and get this process going forward. Next slide, please. I just very quickly want to take you through some examples of folks that are using the platform. So your own notation is your own imagination, but let me share Atlanta's story, because they're one example of how people use it. Population is 6 million people. They have live two-way INR text, and they have phone to text. What happens is a person dials 211. Partway through the message, they're given the option of converting that to a text interaction. They do an average of 5,000 text encounters a month. In fact, text is very quickly becoming their primary communication tool. Year to date, they've had over 400,000 outbound texts, and inbound 93,000. The difference is the inbound are inquiries, the outbound are resources. And on the average, they do 55 text encounters a day, and they also transition about 740 people from phone to text. So it allowed them to do more without increasing staff, and it's allowed them to be responsive to what their clients want. Next slide, please. The next example is my example. A little bit of pride in that. Our population that we serve in the Tri-County area is a little over 2 million. We do a lot of push programs. And when I say push programs, it's one-way communication that folks sign into to be part of. So we have a program related to college access. We have a program related to childhood development. We have a program related to veterans. We have a program related to taxes and financial stability, and we put that out there and we send out messages to people, and then as part of that, they have the opportunity to create a dialogue with us. And a lot of our text encounters begin because of initial interaction with the push text, and then it transitions to the other part of it. We also have the 2-on-1 on-demand automated services, which I'll talk a bit more about in the near future. The nice thing about the text encounter, and I mentioned this before, we establish a relationship, not an interaction. People that reach out to you by text tend to continue to reach out by text and stay engaged. So it allows us to not only answer their immediate need, but also send them valuable information. So for example, if a person contacts me about food, I can meet their immediate need by perhaps giving them a food pantry or a congregate meal site. But then, a month later, I may, because I've already had that connection and that relationship, send them information about, there's a free food distribution at this site, and then a couple months later, maybe a Thanksgiving basket, or maybe an opportunity to talk about EITC and part of that because of that initial interaction. So by capturing the data, by capturing the phone number because of the text interaction, it allows us to establish a relationship, continue that relationship. I mentioned before, we're reaching folks that never before chose to call us. And we're reaching a whole new group of people because the things I mentioned, military, early childhood development, college access, financial stability, those, for the most part, are not income related in terms of the lower folks with least income. Regardless if you are making $10,000 a year or $100,000 a year, the challenge of getting into college and staying is daunting. If you are a veteran or you're in active duty, there are things you need or want, whether it's interaction with other veterans or employment help or whatever, that are not based on your income. So it allows you to reach other folks you've never reached before that are not part of your typical interaction, but also to be responsive to folks that are in a much more user-friendly way. As I mentioned, 8 of 10 of our encounters are originated by text, and we also, because we do direct service, are able to make this service available to our local agencies and able to share information for clients back and forth as well. So it's a continuous loop as opposed to a different phone call kind of thing. We can do a warm handoff by that text, and it makes things much easier as opposed to a hang-up, call this number kind of thing. So once again, another example, but what I wanted to say is you're only limited by your imagination, not by the restrictions of the platform. Next slide. So 2-on-1 on demand. I mentioned that several times. What is 2-on-1 on demand? What it is it allows you to text in 898, put in your zip code, and then put in a keyword that then goes into your CRM real time and pulls out the most appropriate responses and sends it back to the individual. Okay. So, for example, if my issue is tax sites, the person could text 898-211, put in tax. Now I'd ask them for their zip code so I could find the tax site that was closest to them. It would send information back to them via it could be a link, it could be a portion of the database I've predetermined and predefined the text, and goes back to them. They have it on their phone ready to use. But what it also does, and this is where it gets really, I think, exciting. It captures that data in your CRM. It establishes into a client record or an existing client record. So everything that happens, even though there's no communication or nothing done on your part, is captured in the CRM. What happens next? Okay. Then at a predetermined time that you define, it automatically sends out a survey to them. Once again, based on what you want to put in the survey, was your need met, and so forth. And it takes that information back then, and once again, post it in your CRM, so you have that data available that you can, download separately and see going forward. It also gives them the opportunity at any point in time, through any of those interactions, to do a two-way discussion. And then it looks to take other paths too, which actually be involved in veterans, whatever. So it's a lot of functionality. But the important thing is, this is how people want to get the information. And this allows us to, once again, meet more folks where they want to be met without increasing our staffing. That helps us to eliminate some of the wait times that are on our phones. It helps us to collect data. You spend a lot of time, at least I do, doing follow-up calls. And I have to make 3, 4, 5 calls sometimes. A typical policy is 3, but in some cases we go more to get the feedback. This is done automatically. What's even more important, the percentage of folks that respond to a survey via text, because it's done at their convenience on their time, is significantly higher than the time spent on the phone. 50-60% of the folks respond to a text survey as opposed to my time spent on the telephone. So it is very, very beneficial. And once again, because we've captured the information in the CRM, in the database that you're using, we're able to take that information and roll up to a national dashboard that we can share the information with. And, so completely automated based on the parameters that you set, whether it's one record, 2 records, 5 records, done via links to the web, to the data in the CRM, or done based on automatic messaging you created, and it's all good to go. Very, very, very cool. And the nice thing is, it happens instantaneous. Boom, boom, boom. It happens quicker than you can sit in front of a screen and type the information. So the turnaround time for the information with people is very quick, and they like it. The fact that you're not asking them, can you get a pencil, please, and write this information down? It's right there on their phone, available with them to use when they need it. Next slide, please. Just to recap some of the things I've said, we've almost any place that has installed text, and in particular this product, has not had to hire new staff, because in reality, the expectation of a texter is different than a person that's on the phone. They may text you and some want an immediate response, and that's fine, but some will text you and then text you again 3 or 4 minutes later, or 5 minutes later. So you're actually able to multitask. So instead of a person being tied up on one phone call, they can be handling 2, 3, 4 texts at a time, or a phone call and a text and a chat. So they're able to do more with less. So it's not about I need to hire more staff to implement this. Simply, I need to have the product in place and go forward. Deployment to sites incremental and controlled is on your timeline, and it's a very easy, smooth process. And more importantly, as I mentioned, the system is currently deployed nationally. It's available today nationally. We're ready to deliver on national initiatives today. So it's not like we have to build out this location, that location. It's already there. It's ready to go. Just need you all to get on board. Next slide. I would be remiss if I didn't share some of the exciting things that are happening across the country besides Atlanta and Orlando. Indiana deployed live INR, and they have 6 2-in-1s that are linked. So at a given moment, anyone can cover the text. So it's a load balancing thing, So if one goes down because of a storm, or they want to have a departmental meeting, or whatever occurs, it's seamless. There's no effort required. It just happens. 2-in-1 Info. They manage hundreds of calls a day. They're a great resource for information on two-way texting. Impact Milwaukee, my good friend Bob Waite, has deployed a fully automated food bank referral using text. Next slide. And I would encourage you to contact all these folks to hear these kind of things they're doing and find out how they are with the product. Donnie House, Oklahoma, great stuff Donnie does. They're using 211 on demand. I mentioned the query by zip code, the issue, and send out 3 of the closest referrals in less than 30 seconds, quicker than you can type the information in. They're responding to that client's need. And don't think I should just put this mention in. Just because you're doing text doesn't mean you still can't collect demographic information. A text interaction is the same as a telephone interaction. The difference is, you can't hear the inflection of the voice, but you have to ask the right questions. So and believe me, there's significant materials available to help you understand how to be able to do that. Anyway, going forward, 201 Connecticut, fully automated food bank utility referrals, Butte, Montana, or Butte, California, homeless subscribers regarding information on shelters. Next slide. So once again, it's the platform is not limited by any other than your imagination. Pennsylvania 201, they notify folks from the previous tax season about the upcoming tax season. I talked about our Text for Tots program. It was funded by one of the hospitals in the area, and that's the other thing. It's easy. At least I don't want to make a promise I can't keep, but it is easy to sell a program that is new and meets a person's need, a specialized need, like childhood development, like college access, like serving veterans, and much easier than trying to sell them the concept of 211. Helpline Center 211 deployed several storm warning text programs and has built relationships with others by doing so in new revenue streams. That's the push concept of send out messages to pre-programmed groups within your system. Next slide. And please understand, I wanted to highlight a bunch, but I'm not doing them justice. You need to talk to them. They are doing some amazing things to help their community. Just some quick anecdotes. Actually, our specialists and others prefer text over other mediums because it is very easy to use. And I've not found a person yet that doesn't feel comfortable using the platform. The end users are very, very positive. They like that they can communicate in the method they feel they choose, and they like the fact that the information is stored on their phone. I can't tell you the number of positive interactions I hear about. I hear about it because we send out automated surveys that folks like the service, highly recommend the service. We had that available to them to meet their chosen communication method. Next slide. These are just some more comments. Extremely popular among our clients and so forth. You can see this, and when you contact those folks I mentioned, or contact myself or my staff, or the folks in Atlanta or wherever you do, you're going to hear these comments. These are not select few. These are universally spoken. Next slide. So you've heard all the good things. You've heard why you should do this. You've heard it, whether you are ready to proceed with the total platform or the registry piece of it. All the great things that can happen and are happening. But you're probably saying, what's the cost, Larry? How's this going to work? So let me share what Russ alluded to earlier about pricing. If you have an existing contract with Prevention Pays, there will be no increase in pricing, and they'll be automatically renewed at the existing pricing. So, regardless of the service size of your population, that will be in existence. Secondarily, we are doing population-based pricing. So what that means and I'm going to use a hypothetical example. So please don't hold me to this, but please understand what I'm trying to say. If you are serving a population of 5,000, as opposed to someone that's serving a population of 1 million, your pricing should reflect the 5,000, not the million. So we are trying to scale down the price to a very, very, very reasonable number that you can afford based on your service population. On the flip side, if you are serving 10 million as opposed to 1 million, if we use the same pricing structure, you'll be paying a very high number. We don't want that to occur either. So we are working with everybody to get to the lowest common denominator that we can get to and get everybody on the platform, because that's where our strength lies, is having everybody on the platform. Now there is a hard cost to the platform on an ongoing basis. That hard cost is the number we want to pass on to our contracts, not to you. We want them to be able to pay the total cost, the total load, so we can get the money back to you. You know, our goal, as mentioned, get money to you not only for the cost of product, but beyond that. So we are very fair, and not we, I should say, Prevention Pays is very fair and sensitive to large and small areas, and will do everything they can to accommodate budgets, because we want you on board. And if the budget is an issue right now and time is an issue, then please take advantage of the registry, take advantage of the free offerings, and take advantage of getting your message to the folks that are using that text in your community. Please download the handout for this webinar for more information. Please don't hesitate to contact me or the folks that are mentioned in here. They would love to share their experience with you. Next slide, please. So I mentioned a live demo of one of the free services. So if you would, at this time, if you can, open a text application on your phone and go to the message, and in the phone number part, type in 898-211. In the message area, type in Alex, and then click send. As simple as that. You're going to start to receive storm advisory text. They'll come to you, and once again, you can opt out when you're done. But this is a feature we're going to make available to you in your community to be able to respond to disaster in your community, and as I also mentioned, give you search protection so you're not overwhelmed. And all you need to do to get that feature and the rest I mentioned is send me your zip codes. So I know I've talked for quite a while. I would love to answer any and all questions you have. Once again, thank you for taking the time. I look forward to working with all of you to deliver this application to the country. I look forward to working with you to share any resource that we're able to generate because of it. So if you have any questions, please start now. And here's the contact information. Questions?
Okay, there's a question. Can you tell us more about the Homeland Security pilot that is underway?
Absolutely. Is Tom, are you on?
I am.
Could you talk to that?
Am I through that speaker or am I through the headset?
Let's go ahead.
I had trouble hearing you, Larry. Can you ask that question again?
I'm sorry. I asked if Tom was on, if Tom could respond to the Homeland Security question.
Oh, what is the nature of the program?
Yes.
The nature of the program is a funded study through Georgia State University and the University of Nevada, Reno, which is a text-based program that they're seeking to create that is called Countering Violent Extremism. It's a very new project that's underway, and a few of the sites, 211 sites in the United States, have been selected to be model sites as this program rolls out in its first year. Larry, you know, and Donna, if you're on the line, you know that they're coming over to your sites to do some focus group work next month. And the hope is that they will be able to pass this in year 2 over to all the 211 sites, so as a means by which to put down a safety blanket and bring new services to the United States via texting.
So one of the concepts is if a person sees something suspicious, they could very quickly text and notify, 211s of that suspicion, which we've then passed on to law enforcement and so forth. So there's a number of applications, but they are very excited about the interaction with 211 and text.
Okay. Okay, so to whom should the zip codes be sent?
They should send them to me. That's the simplest. We actually do have a website to be able to send them to as well. And I'll get that information out. It's not part of the information in the back. So in the interim, the short time you can send them to me, or you can send them to Prevention Pays directly, and that email is up there as well. And not only the email, or not only the zip codes, but also the messaging that you want to appear in the response to that text inquiry.
How long does the implementation process typically take?
I would ask Jonathan or Tom, you want to speak to that?
Yeah, this is Jonathan. The implementation typically takes between a week to 2 or 3 weeks, depending on what level of service you're going to be offering. Activation of zip codes, though, happen overnight, so that can be rather quickly. And then what the system setup and protocols, that is happens alongside with administrators. And then there are 2 rigorous training sessions that are offered via GoToMeeting online, one intensive for admins and then one intensive for specialists. All sessions are recorded and sent to the participating agency so that they can use those recordings for ongoing training. And then any additional spot training is made available on demand. Next question. Okay, just a second here. How does the national deployment get the local resource information? How does the national deployment get the local resource information?
So let me be very, very clear. To do a national deployment for a national initiative, it would be around a very defined product. So, for example, if we were to do flu through the CDC, they would give us the information on our end from them down to us, telling us the information they wanted provided. If we are fully deployed, then the local information will be done at the local level. So you're not going to have a person texting 211 in Illinois and a person in Florida giving them local information. That's not the intent. The intent is to have a local person doing that. And if it's not available via text, that's why the personalized message will tell them what the alternative method to get that information. But the national opportunity is to do nationally defined contracts across nationally defined initiatives. So flu, tax preparation, whatever the appealing nature of the funds goes to. On the flip side of that, though, we are also looking for funding to offset the cost of the national platform. So in essence, making it available to you at no cost. Now, I'm hesitant to say that because I don't want you to wait for that to occur, because right now that's not in place. But that's one of the goals, is to be able to make your costs as minimal as possible. But you know, that's not going to occur overnight. It may never happen. You know, on that, I think national contracts that support initiatives will happen much quicker than buying down the network. But I could be wrong. But don't wait for that to occur, because we can't let opportunities pass us by. You know, and I mentioned we are a bit behind. You know, there are other folks right now that are poised to offer basically information referral across the text platform. There are folks that they're saying they're doing it. You know, but they don't have the 211 brand behind it, and Text 211 does have the national brand behind it. So we have a number of things working in our favor if we strike when the opportunity exists.
And Larry, it's Russ. Let me just, as you know, as the guy that sits at Highway Worldwide, I need to be really clear that we did not select this platform because we have imminent national contracts for anything. We selected the platform and we're supporting this because we want to respond to the request we had from you all in the field, which was that you wanted to be able to have a text platform. And we found one that was already serving a lot of you, that there was good customer satisfaction. The focus that I've got right now, there is some focus on trying to find money, but the focus I've got right now with this platform is to support you in your individual 211 center and its texting needs. There may be some stuff down the road, as Larry said, but the focus of this right now is to support you at an individual 211 center and the texting that you need to do.
And Russ, I'm glad you said that, because I know I'm excited about the opportunity, but as Russ alluded to, nothing is imminent. But I think the opportunity that's presented, because we do have a national solution, is much greater than we've had in the past. And so, therefore, I'm excited about the opportunity. And I think there are folks that will, in fact, be excited as well. But nothing is 30 days out, 60 days out, a year out. You know, it's all based on what we know is happening, not what we know is currently available.
Thank you. We're going to have to wrap this up. There are a couple of technical questions that were asked, like how do you handle zip codes that are covered by multiple sites? And we can have secondary automated question that asks for county or additional information in order to route to the proper location. So routing is worked out even when zones are covered or split across several agencies. And please download the handouts that were provided to you. They're available for your review. Everybody is going to receive a copy of the slides. Everybody is going to receive also a link to the recording of this session. So please be on the lookout for that. Larry, Russ, thank you so much for your time. Was there anything that you guys want to add before we sign off? We're going to respond to all. Go ahead.
I just want to thank everybody for spending this hour with us. You know, you can tell I'm excited because I've seen too many opportunities go by because we couldn't deliver a national solution. Now we can, please send in your zip codes, get the registry, be part of the process. Thank you.
And I'll just add I'll just add that thank you, Larry, for spearheading this on behalf of your colleagues across the network. This is an important thing for us to be able to do. Texting is clearly the way that the folks are going to be communicating in the future. This is a great product to get us there. So thanks for joining us for the call. If you have more questions, don't hesitate to ask. I know that we didn't have as much time for Q&A at the end as we really needed to, but send in your questions and we will make sure they all get answered, not just the ones that you had time to ask in this call. Jonathan, you want to wrap it up?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Russ and Larry. You guys terrific and spoke so well of and highly of the service and the work that a lot of 2-in-1s have been doing now for a while, and that is much appreciated by them, I'm certain. And thank you all for your participation. As mentioned, all of this will be available, and then we will be systematically and individually answering each of the questions carefully, and those will come to everybody as well. We will hang out for a little bit also to field, so the audio is going to end and the guest panelists are going to go away, but we will have the webinar live just to catch all additional questions. Thank you so much.